Joseph Stalin's image in the Soviet Union was a carefully crafted one. Propaganda portrayed him as a strong, wise leader who steered the country through hardship and revolution towards superpower status. However, the reality for Soviet people was far more nuanced. Here's a look at how Stalin was perceived by the Soviet public. The hero of the revolution and World War II. Official narrative. State propaganda heavily promoted Stalin as the successor to Lenin and the savior of the revolution. His leadership during World War II, particularly the crucial victories on the Eastern Front, further cemented his image as a wartime hero. The fearsome leader. The Great Purge. The brutal repression of the Great Purge instilled fear in the Soviet population. Disappearing friends, family members, and neighbors cast a constant shadow of suspicion and fear. Even those who benefited from Stalin's regime lived with the knowledge that they could be next. The provider to some. Industrialization. Stalin's rapid industrialization lifted some out of poverty and created new opportunities, particularly in urban areas. However, this progress came at the expense of the agricultural sector and resulted in widespread famine for many. The distant figure. Cult of personality. Stalin cultivated a god-like image through propaganda. He was rarely seen by the public, further solidifying his position as a distant, all-powerful figure. Ordinary people often felt a disconnect between the idealized image and the realities of their lives. A spectrum of opinions. True believers. Some genuinely believed in Stalin's leadership and the communist ideology. They saw him as the architect of a strong Soviet Union and a beacon of hope in a world perceived as hostile. The disillusioned, many, especially those who suffered during the purges, famines, or hardships of war, held a more critical view. They lived with the consequences of Stalin's policies while being silenced from expressing their dissent. Information control. Limited exposure. Strict control over information meant many Soviet citizens had limited access to alternative perspectives on Stalin or the realities of his rule. They were fed a steady diet of propaganda that glorified him and demonized his enemies. The legacy of fear. Open discussion taboo. Even after Stalin's death, open discussion about his brutality remained taboo for decades. Fear and a sense of self-preservation kept many from openly criticizing the former leader. In conclusion, public perception of Stalin in the Soviet Union was a complex mix of fear, reverence, and disillusionment. Propaganda created a powerful image, but the realities of his rule were far harsher. Understanding how Stalin was viewed requires acknowledging the official narrative alongside the lived experiences of Soviet citizens. Only then can we get a more complete picture of this controversial figure.